What is going on, people? We are back again with another video, and this one right here is all about Memphis. Now, we know that Memphis has returned on socials, has returned because she has been working with the immigration marriage fraud. And because of that, I spoke about it, I'm sure other people spoke about it, but it seems to me as if the backlash that Memphis has been getting since then has now put her in a position where she wants to respond to all the naysayers and definitely have her opinion on the situation. And let's be real, are we surprised? No, because this is what Memphis is all about. Always about getting the last word, always about making sure people understand where she's coming from, and always making it abundantly clear that what she's doing is the right thing and everybody else is absolutely nothing but delusional. Now, with that being said, she started off with this first post in particular where it comes up by saying sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us. I mean, to be honest with you, those best things, I'm still waiting for them to happen because as of right now, those best things don't seem to have happened. And then she proceeds into the next one where it says, become okay with the villain in someone else's story, even if you weren't. Never forget that people will turn into whatever it is that they need you to be so they can, so their internal narrative can make sense to them. So stop trying. Now, this one right here is definitely a direct shot to everyone that has been questioning Memphis. I mean, listen. The matter of the fact is when we talk about the word narrative, okay, we can talk about narrative. Where do people's internal narrative come from? Well, it comes from the fact that when you were on 90 Day Fiancé, you portrayed yourself in a way where, well, let's keep 100. You portrayed yourself in a way where you was not likable. You portrayed yourself in a way where you was desperate to find a man. I mean, listen, so desperate that you got pregnant just like that. You even portrayed yourself so much that even the timeline of you having a child with the man still has a lot of us thinking, is a child actually his? You know what I mean? So really and truly, I'm pretty sure this internal narrative that she speaks about isn't one that we've just made up. It's one that she definitely fixed on herself. And also, let's not forget, once the show ended, or even during the show, she was on social media, literally running freaking wild, moving freaking mad. So to be honest with you, sometimes she needs to take her head out of her ass and realize that everybody else's internal narrative is due to the fact of her own behavior, and she hasn't really done much to change that narrative since. Well, I say much, she hasn't done anything, to be honest with you, but hey, we continue. Okay, and then Memphis decides to proceed with this next post here where it says, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you are allowed to be hurt by what they did to you, and you are allowed to keep bringing it up until it's resolved. Don't let them think you have a time limit on healing just because they can't handle the shame of how they treated you. Interesting. I mean, listen, let me break this one down in my own perspective here. And let's just go back to the statement itself in particular about you are allowed to be hurt by what they did to you. Of course, everybody's allowed to be hurt by what someone did to them. There is no saying that, you're right? But I think at the same time, though, in life, we have to reflect on our own intentions. She talks about hurt. So the hurt that she suffered was the fact that she found a man who then allegedly gave her a child and then decided to disappear when he came to America, right? All right, cool. We can run with the narrative that I still do believe strongly that is true, that he only used it to get to the States. But that's just one narrative. What about the other narrative that we're not being told? The narrative where she purposely went out of her way to find a man from another country to pretty much have him locked down to her life. How about that? So while she's talking about hurt, it seems as if Memphis forgot, or maybe some people in this world forget, that if you go with the intention of finding someone in a different location because you think it's going to be easy for you and you think it's going to be rosy for you and you think you're going to be in charge of that person, don't then be surprised and then don't act all hurt and act like a victim if you then find out that, hold on a minute, the whole time you may have been playing the game to get them, they were playing the game to pretty much get to America. So she can talk about hurt all she wants as if the hurt only started on her side. But at the end of the day, if you ask me personally, we can argue that the hurt that she suffered from this marriage and it not working out was self-inflicted, because really and truly, why was she looking to find someone abroad in the first place? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but when we look at the timeline, it is very, very much subjective. But also at the same time, let's look into this bit of particular where it talks about how there isn't a time limit on healing. Of course there isn't. Of course there isn't. But the question is, though, what do you do in that time to heal? Because if you ask me, it doesn't seem as if Memphis has done anything necessarily to heal within the time, because all she has done is to, I quote, to keep bringing it up until it's resolved. And of course, this is where we are right now with the whole immigration marriage, for which, listen, I still do agree with the approach of doing that, because I feel like it's something that needs to be kind of addressed, and I feel like it's something that definitely needs to be done, because it is a crime that is happening all the time. So I don't contest it in that kind of manner. Not at all, not at all, not at all. But again, like I said before, we cannot ignore the part where one is also a hypocrite, because they also had their own intentions, and now they're acting as if their intentions were pure in the freaking first place, when clearly those intentions never really looked sincere to begin with. And those intentions were Memphis literally finding the man abroad, and for whatever benefit that she was looking for, that clearly she lost that on in the end. And that's why we are where we are now, where she's trying to do this absolute madness. But like I said before, even though she may have purposely tried to find a man abroad for whatever purposes, it doesn't mean that he wasn't trying to use her just to get in the States. It's just one of those things of who won the battle. I guess Danielle should have appeared first, and then Memphis could have learned from Danielle. But we continue. Listen for understanding, not for judgment. I'm not embarrassed about anything I've been through. What may be tea for you is a testimony for me. If you're going to talk about what broke me, invite me to the table so I can tell you what God did with the pieces. Interesting. You know what? With that being said, though, maybe I'll reach out. Maybe I'll reach out to Memphis and say, hey, how about we do a little conversation? You can tell me your side of the story. You know, you can tell me the pieces that we obviously don't know. Those pieces of what God did, as she says in this post itself in particular, you know? Because to be fair, to be quite frank, I actually haven't seen Memphis actually, to be honest, if you speak up with anyone. I'm pretty sure she's had other people who've obviously reached out to try and get a conversation. She's probably said no. And let's be real, right now, she's probably not going to speak to nobody, because she did say in the video recently that there's only she can't say too much whilst there's an ongoing investigation to the whole immigration marriage fraud situation. So I guess, to be fair, reaching out to her is kind of pointless at this stage, isn't it? Maybe wait until later on in life. Maybe, you know, after the whole situation has been dealt with. But either way, though, it is interesting, though, when she does say about maybe what may be tea for you is a testimony for me. And you know what? That is a very good point. It's a very strong point. And I don't disagree with it. I don't contest it. Or I am going to contest it now, aren't I? No, I don't disagree with it, but I'm going to contest it by saying, well, here's the thing. How can you say what is tea for others is testimony for you if your whole character, your whole persona was based on you being someone that was desperate? Desperate for a man so much you got pregnant pretty much the first time you saw him. If that's not desperate, then what is? Do you see what I'm saying? So now we fast forward to the fact that your relationship didn't work out, and because it didn't work out, instead of taking ownership for your own role in the relationship not working out, you decide to do the whole immigration fraud thing. So I think that says a whole lot about it being tea for testimony. You know what I mean? Like I said before, I had to obviously, you know, confront that one. But like I said before, it doesn't change the fact that I do agree with the approach, purely because I feel like it's going to open up eyes for other people who may go through the same situation later on in life, or other people who may even be going through it right now. So that's why that's the only reason why I back the movement of the immigration situation, because I feel like it's something that other people can look at and be like, wow, hold on a minute, and maybe I should think of that. Despite the fact that the person who's advocating for it may not be the best person, or just isn't the right person, but in life, we can't always get what we want, and that's just the bottom line. But hey, let me know what you're thinking down below, and we can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.